Call this October 24th, 2022 regular Beacon City School District School Board meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
Yeah.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vicki, roll call, please.
Here.
Excused.
Here.
Delayed.
Here.
Excused.
Present.
Excused. Here. Thank you. Matt, can you review the fire exits?
Exits are in the back of the LGI.
First on our agenda tonight is BTA Board Appreciation. My favorite thing.
All right. So hi, I'm Leslie Tompkins. I am the Vice President of the Beacon Teachers Association. This is Christina Dahl. She's President of the Beacon Teachers Association. Yep, it's an exciting day. We have Alps chocolates for you guys to say thank you. We know that you volunteer your time, and it's time away from family and things that you have going on otherwise. And we do sincerely appreciate your service to our schools and to our community. So thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
How are you? Good. I'm doing well.
Thank you very much.
I'm also going to pass this around. There's a card from Miss Ash's class. I'm sorry.
Oh, sweet. Sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh.
See you tomorrow.
So board members who aren't here, is it fair
I
game?
can,
Yeah, exactly.
totally, we can just divvy up.
You're appreciated only if you show up.
Yeah. Snooze, you lose. Next up is open to the public. Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment
Thanks,
tonight?
Christina.
I'm gonna take a look at it later.
Dennis?
But it's cute, like looking at it, you can see. Dennis raised his hand.
I did, yeah. And Dennis, you know the rules, but just for anyone else who's new here, you'll have 4 minutes to speak.
Dennis Pavlak, Beacon resident. Before I discuss read about my event to present to you, and I'd like the school district to be involved, it's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight. Another reason why I'm here tonight is to question the new security measures on being proactive and reactive. In case you didn't hear, another school shooting today in St. Louis, 3 people died there. The police department was able to kill the shooter. I just can't figure out why school districts across the United States have not decided to do an active shooter drill prior to 2022. I was here for 8 consecutive years, the year 2000 to 2008, and I was requesting that for 8 consecutive years. And then Columbine happened in 1999. And thoughts and prayers, this and that, back and forth. And once again, and the school shootings kept happening, keep happening, still keep happening. And we're reacting instead of being proactive towards it. And I just don't understand why. So that's my comment on that, so I'll leave that alone there. I'd like to discuss my event now. This idea came to me about 5 years ago, and I just decided to bring it to fruition now. I am the fundraising coordinator for the Beacon Lions Club here in Beacon. And so here's my event. in cooperation with the Beacon Lions Club, I'd like to invite you to participate in the first annual Human Christmas Tree, A Tree Glows in Beacon event at Memorial Park, Pop Warner Field Hill, Saturday, November 26th, at 4 p.m., rain date November 27th, 4 p.m. Here's the idea. Wear a dark-colored coat or an ugly sweater, a holiday sweater. Bring a colorful hat, ski cap, and a battery-operated lantern or flashlight. Those in dark coats or outer garments will be the limbs of the tree, and the ugly sweaters will be the garland, and the colorful hats will be the ornaments. Please bring either, once again, a battery-operated lantern or a flashlight. These will be the lights on the tree. So it's a good way to bring community together and welcome in the holiday season with this event. Hopefully, the school district can promote it to all the schools. We can get this out to them. And I'd like a return phone call or an email or a text to say that it got to the schools, and I want a confirmation back saying that it reached the schools, and not just take this flyer and put it on the inbox and just leave it there. That's a follow-up from me. Who do I give this to?
You can, yeah, give it to Vicky. That would be great.
Okay.
Thank you. She can scan it and send it to all of us.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dennis. Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment? Okay. Seeing none. So we have a two-part workshop tonight. Our first part is to meet our new student advisors to the school board. 3 out of 4 could make it tonight.
Yeah, so we started having student advisors to the board 4 years ago. Then when during the pandemic years and more virtual stuff, we put it on the back burner, but we are so excited to have the program back, and we have some students very excited to be here. So with us tonight, we have Harsh Gupta, Ari Carmona, this is from my left, and Alejandra Calderon. And Demi Sella is not here tonight. She has a soccer game, right?
Volleyball.
Volleyball, sorry. She has a volleyball game tonight. And anyway, they went through a process of having to meet with Mr. Dwyer and I, and we grilled them for a really long time. No, just kidding. But they wrote an essay about joining, and they're very excited about really representing student voice, not just from the high school, but from across the district. So welcome, and they, I think, have some things they wanted to share too.
Great.
All right, so I'm Alejandra Calderon, and I'm a junior here at Beacon High School. I've been at the district since my freshman year here, and I'm just so excited to have this great opportunity to be a student advisor. I think that I've always been the kind of person that wants to help others, and I'm really excited to be able to talk for my fellow students. I've done multiple leadership programs in the past, like the Chamber Foundation's Youth Leadership Program, and I've also been to the Hobie New York East Youth Leadership Seminar. I'm also in many clubs here at Beacon High School, like the Black Student Union, Students for Gender Equality, the Students Against Destructive Decisions, and National Honor Society. Something I'm very passionate about, and I'm really excited to further talk with you guys, is how we how we advertise our mental health supports for our students, and I'm really excited to further go into that.
My name is Ari Carmona. I'm a senior here at Beacon High School. Ever since becoming a freshman, I've just been kind of looking for more opportunities to push myself outside of my comfort zone, and it's propelled me to take on a lot of leadership roles within the high school. Like currently, I'm co-president of the National Honor Society. I'm secretary of Girls Who Code. I play on the varsity bowling team, and I'm heavily involved with other clubs in the school as well. But one of the best things that I got to experience this year, in my opinion, was becoming captain of the girls' tennis team. I'm very passionate about that. And although I'm really sad that it's over, I'm really glad that now I can take my time and focus on becoming more involved within the community. And overall, I'm just super thankful for this opportunity to be here and represent all of the students in the district and overall getting to know everyone. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Harsh Gupta. I'm a junior at Beacon High School, and I'm really grateful for this position because I think it will allow me to advocate better for the students in my class in like an effective manner. Some stuff about me is that I'm the vice president of the NHS, and I'm the president of my class. I participate in many other clubs, and I'm finishing out my cross-country season. Currently in school, I'm advocating and starting a SAT student-led tutoring program to help students gain a better score on the SAT overall. On the weekends, I like to volunteer at the Beacon Soccer Club, and I'm the head referee there. I'm looking forward to know everyone and tell everyone about the student body perspective and maintain a good student representation in the information and ideas that are spread here.
Sorry, I have one other person. We have student advisor Demetra Sella. She couldn't be with us because unfortunately she has a volleyball game, but she did have something she wanted to say. She's a senior who grew up in the district beginning at South Avenue in pre-K. Being one of the original members of the 5th grade student council had sparked her passion for school and community involvement. Currently, Demi is the student council president, senior class vice president, member of various clubs, and she's closing out her final season as a varsity volleyball team captain. As a student advisor, she hopes to encourage student participation in activities to create a more unified and open environment across the various aspects of our district, advocating for the interests and concerns of Beacon students. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're so excited to have you be part of the board. It really, I think, rounds out the perspective that we have here. We're all, from the community, but we're not in the schools every day as you are, and we really look forward to hearing your points of view.
Thank you.
And after those great introductions, I'm sitting here thinking I really got to up my game.
Pressure's on.
Because I'm sitting right next to him, and so going to try to do better moving forward. That was a great introduction, and I can't be more excited to have you join us too. So I look forward to a great year. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Corey and Matt, for helping to organize this. It's really, really great. Okay. Moving on, we have our sustainability update. We are going to hear from Jamie McDonald, who is on Zoom, and we also have Jeff Demansky here to help support the presentation. So, Jamie, can you hear us? Jamie, can you hear us?
Yes, hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you? Good evening.
Good. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're ready when you are.
Okay. I'll be sharing from my screen. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
While Jamie's getting that set up, Jamie has the board voted on an agreement with the Center for Economic and Environmental Partnership last spring for Jamie to do like a few months residency with the district to really kind of do an overview of all the areas we need to be focusing on in the area of sustainability. Jeff Demansky was really instrumental in getting the funding for that. It was not funded by the district, but it was funded by outside sources. So Jamie's, done this overview presentation with leadership in the district and some other community organizations. We thought it'd be good for him to do it with the board tonight via Zoom. And then I, with Anne Marie and Perry, we're just going to do a very brief update on where things stand and where we stand with electric buses.
Okay, so I'll get going.
Yep. Thank you, Jane. Yep.
Yeah, thank you for that intro, Matt. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this presentation on integrating sustainability into the Beacon City School District, a report on potential strategies. So very quickly, my name is Jamie McDonald. As Matt said, I'm a program manager with the Center for Economic and Environmental Partnership in Beacon. My supervisor is Jeff Demansky. He's the executive director of CE Partnership. He was very helpful with this process. So just a little bit of information on us. And before I begin, I just wanted to extend my appreciation to BCSD, to Superintendent Landau and his team, as well as to the board. Thank you for having me and for giving me the opportunity to Jeff and for the Center of Economic and Environmental Partnership for again, for the opportunity, as well as to the different funding partners. My understanding is that many of them come from Beacon and the surrounding area, so I really do appreciate the support, financial support from local community members. Okay, so we started this process in early March, and it went through June of this year, and the purpose was fivefold. It was to benchmark past initiatives and to establish a starting line for future efforts, to identify resources available to the district within the immediate community, regionally and nationally, identify sustainability practices from other schools and districts that might be appropriate and helpful to the district, illustrate how sustainability can be a connecting theme that advances a wide range of BCSD goals, and finally to strategize about how to get from where we are to where we want to be and how to make it stick. And before I get into what we did, I quickly wanted to kind of define what we mean by sustainability within a school system. So the scope to us at the CE partnership is that sustainability aims to improve health and wellness. It aims to maximize resource use efficiency and reduce operating costs. It aims to nurture students in a school community that are sustainability literate, engaged citizens, adaptive and resilient. And last, it aims to better connect education to place, lived experience, and future aspirations and needs, which includes career opportunities. And we've broken this up into 4 focus areas: leadership and school culture, curriculum and instruction, facilities, infrastructure and operations, and community partnerships. And so I'll quickly discuss why I believe sustainability can help to advance a wide variety of goals, and I'll use the BCSD board's 5 goals aside from sustainability. First and foremost is academic excellence. Schools that tend to focus on sustainability tend to have a superior learning environment, more relevant and engaging subject matter, and we make the case that sustainability is absolutely an in-demand field of knowledge, and so it can certainly help with career development. And as for fiscal responsibility, by focusing on integrative planning and thinking long-term, there can be significant cost savings. There's also significant funding available for green improvements or sustainability-related improvements compared to business as usual. And it's really important to also think ahead and anticipate potential future mandates. I think the most obvious one these days in New York State is the potential for all school buses in the state to have to be electric by 2035, and so it's certainly financially prudent to start thinking about that now. And I think a case can be made that construction and energy use, certain curriculum mandates might also follow in the near or just midterm future. As for communication, schools that focus on sustainability tend to create a lot more engagement between students, staff, school leadership, and the wider community. And I also believe that actions speak a lot louder than words often. That developing plans and making meaningful progress on issues that are important to the community, including environmental and social issues, can help to communicate priorities. As for culture of care, I know from speaking with a number of people within the district that social emotional learning and mental health are major concerns, rightfully so. And I think that certain education for sustainability standards that I've listed here, like local and global citizenship, strong sense of place and multiple perspectives, are just some of the examples of why sustainability-related topics can really help to address that culture of care. And last but certainly not least is equity and increasing the access to opportunities that resemble the diversity of the student population. Involved in sustainability education is a big focus on place and place-based education. And so focusing on place and using the immediate environment, both natural and man-made, can help to provide some significant opportunities that hopefully can help level the playing field. And I won't go through all of this, but this is a quick recap of the three kind of stages of our work. As I mentioned, we did some benchmarking, which was the qualitative and quantitative assessment of past efforts. We did do some best practices research. I put best in quotations here because sustainability is very much about appropriateness to place. And so I didn't want to say that, oh, a school here is doing that, a school there is doing this, you know, Beacon should be doing all these different things. And so I didn't want to approach it in that way, but it was very helpful to see kind of what is out there and what's possible. So we spoke to a number of K-12 schools in the area, as well as some leading sustainability and sustainable ed organizations, some state and federal agencies that could help with expertise, as well as potential funding, some what I see to be pretty key potential local partnerships, or groups that have a lot of sustainability knowledge within Beacon, the Climate Smart Communities Group, Conservation Advisory Committee, and the Foundation for Beacon Schools, as well as the current architecture and engineering firm that is working with the district. And so the final area that we focused on, I wasn't able to implement much. This is more of a next phase, but we did some planning for this, is visioning and then strategy development. So I developed some surveys and focus group questions for students and parents and some other stakeholders within the district. And did some preparations for collaborative and integrative planning, both specifically for sustainability, but also how sustainability can be integrated into a larger strategic plan, which I know is going on right now. And the last part of this was trying to identify some more community resources that could be used to help bridge the gap. So there's a lot of information here. I'm not going to go through everything, but for each of our 4 focus areas, we created a slide like this, where we talked about the opportunity, meaning why focus on this area, the status, where is BCSD with this, what has happened to date, the needs, what's slowing progress, what's keeping us from moving forward, and then some next steps, our initial strategies, and then resources. And so I won't talk about, I'll just go through the next steps of these slides. And so for the leadership and culture focus area, first and foremost, our recommendation or suggestion would be to reestablish the Sustainability Committee, which I know is on its way, which is great to hear from the superintendent a couple weeks ago. Our only additional recommendation for that is to just try to make it as diverse as really as possible and bring as many stakeholders from the district, but also maybe potentially some representatives from the city of Beacon and some other thought leaders and experts in the area, because I know that there certainly are many. And we were very happy to see that sustainability was one of 6 goals that had been identified by the Board of Education. So we just recommend that some additional metrics be added. Currently, it's energy usage and curriculum implementation, but I was not able to find very many other details. And there's plenty of other metrics that can be used, as well as some information about who's doing the tracking, where's the information going, like that. The next recommendation is develop a Board of Education policy specific to sustainability, and I think about BCSD's wellness policy as an example. So this could be just a general sustainability policy that helps to define what that means to the district and who's involved and where to go, how to go forward. But there could be additional policies related to sustainability, for instance, procurement, future construction, transportation, curriculum development. There's plenty of examples out there. Our fourth recommendation is to create a holistic sustainability plan for the district. I've listed 2 examples there that I think were really great. Yeah, that's number 4. And then integrating that sustainability plan into the larger strategic plan for the district. And our last recommendation for leadership and culture is to secure funding specifically for staff and staff-related initiatives, not necessarily for anything else. And a couple that we pinpoint are an energy manager and internships from NYSERDA. One school that we did speak with had provided stipends for current staff to incentivize them and give them some more support to be able to focus on some things that are not necessarily a part of their day-to-day. And then the last one here is that the Center for Economic and Environmental Partnership is very interested in continuing. So we would certainly be interested in having a conversation about potentially providing a fellow to help with this leadership and culture work. And then facilities and infrastructure is our second focus area. And our first suggestion here is to ensure energy and resource conservation knowledge. I think this is a great time, given that a new facilities director has come on, to ensure that they have a basic understanding of energy management systems, water, waste, grounds, and landscaping. There's a lot of areas that they have to cover. And we do believe that there's likely a short payback on this investment, based on some of the benchmarking that we did on some of the savings that could be realized by the district on some improved energy management. We recommend that the district look into a grant-funded on-site energy manager to help with this transition. That's through NYSERDA. This person could help specifically with energy management. They could also be working on general sustainability work as well. And then our last here for facilities and infrastructure, as an initial recommendation, is to develop a long-term plan for all facilities that could be used to direct future capital project funding. And I think that this would be very closely linked with that sustainability plan that leadership and hopefully the sustainability committee can put together. And it would be based on Board of Education policies, metrics, and the sustainability plan. Some examples of what could help to guide that plan could be energy and resource efficiency, decarbonization, having greater, trying to bring across concepts like biophilia, sense of place, environmental justice certainly should be on this list. So that's our recommendation for facilities and infrastructure. Curriculum and instruction. So our initial recommendations here, first and foremost, actually doesn't have much to do with sustainability. After speaking with an expert in education for sustainability who's connected with the Duchess Bosey Center for Sustainability and Climate Education, she recommended that before a curriculum can be sustainable in this, it needs to be mapped. And so I understand that that's currently going on right now within the district, which it was great to hear. And then our second bullet, we first gave this presentation a couple months ago. So the bullet was that we recommended that some staff and teachers within the district attend a summer design studio on education for sustainability in Rhinebeck. And I'm not sure if anyone was able to attend or not. And so our final recommendation for the curriculum instruction focus area is to complete an education for sustainability strengths assessment. Again, this is provided by the Dutchess County BOCES Center for Sustainability and Climate Education. There would be some overlap with what we've done here with this report, but I think that they have a lot more experience when it comes specifically to curriculum and instruction. So I think it would be extremely helpful, a great starting point for the district to complete that whenever possible, maybe this fall or winter. And our last focus area had to do with community partnerships. I think that there's just an enormous amount of sustainability-related knowledge within Beacon and the region, and if it's possible to take advantage of that without burdening the districts, I really hope that that the district can take advantage of that. And so our next steps, community partnerships, I guess, a little bit later, once that sustainability plan is finalized. And based on the vision goals that were kind of outlined in that plan, you begin to identify some of the gaps in knowledge, and then identify the groups within the region that can help fill those gaps. But I do believe that there are plenty of groups out there, and many of them seem very willing to want to engage with the district and participate. So just to reiterate, these are three of our kind of immediate recommendations. Again, the sustainability committee is already getting going, so that was really wonderful to hear. Our only kind of sub recommendations for that are to structure it to foster some community partnership by maybe adding representatives from the city or some other community groups, maybe not directly related or connected to the district. And again, we here at CE Partnership are interested in continuing the conversation, so potentially adding a fellow to support the committee. The second bullet here is NYSERDA benchmarking software. There are currently 2 software available to the district to benchmark energy and greenhouse gas emissions. One of them, I think, also can benchmark water usage. Unfortunately, it hasn't been updated in quite a while. And if it's not updated by the end of this year, the district will lose access. So I'm hoping that someone within the district can dedicate some time to do that before the end of December. Otherwise, benchmarking is a very important part of this work. Having that data is very important to be able to determine which steps to take. So hopefully that can get done. And then the last bullet here is again, knowledge transfer to the facilities team. And I specifically highlight the Energy Manager program that could provide funding for software training personnel. So in summary, I absolutely believe that there's proven stakeholder interest throughout the district, and there's significant potential across all 4 of the focus areas that I spoke about today. Our recommendations do reflect the need for some foundational steps. When I started this project, I was really eager to jump into electric buses and building electrification, outdoor classroom design. And I don't think that the district is far away from any of that. And I know that it's working on some of that. But what we've done is try to recommend what we believe can create a very strong foundation for the future. So sustainability, we believe, should be viewed as an opportunity to be seized, not a burden to be avoided, because it can advance a wide variety of goals that have already been outlined by the district. And I really believe that it can set up the district to become a leader, not only a sustainability leader, but just a leader in general in the region and the state. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Jamie?
Yeah. So I'm a water guy. I'll admit that. And I noticed in your curriculum, I kind of thought that stormwater capture. We do have gardens. We have the farm to school program. And we're very proud of it. I mean, we've done it before. Actually, Dutchess County did their farm to table program, I believe they had interest in actually integrating stormwater capture into their feeding, into their scheduled to feed the gardens. There's also an educational component to that. I kind of think it's a little, while you have to have certain equipment in place, it's I think lower hanging fruit in terms of as compared to solar panels and solar boilers and those kind of other equipment that uses the renewable resources as opposed to non-renewable resources, making it more sustainable. So, is there a reason why you think the stormwater components shouldn't fit in this sustainability program?
Not at all. I think that that's a fantastic. There's so many opportunities here, and it was a short presentation. And again, as I said, we kind of there are a lot of ways for us to go, and what we tried to do was recommend what we thought were foundational steps. But I absolutely agree that that could be a low-hanging fruit. I was very impressed with the gardening program that I saw in all of the schools that I visited. And so there's no reason why it wasn't included, other than there's just so many options out there. I guess my only comment would be, you know, who is in charge of that, for maintenance, for design, and all of that. I think that's a really important piece of that. That goes back to kind of really defining the goals and the policies and developing a plan.
I think who's in charge is always a question for any of these green technologies. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that Jamie identified something very important, which is creating this plan that we can fit something like that into so that it feels like it's part of a broader plan. And I think, yeah, identifying the champions of that is a really essential part of that. Did anyone else? Oh, Jeff, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I should just shout, but just additional things, just to the point. What we did is identified existing opportunities, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And Jamie did an amazing job of a survey of relevant schools and their efforts. And two that stand out are the Bethlehem School District up in the Albany area, and I think Warwick both had incredible programs where they were supporting their garden work, their water education, focused on their local projects. So there is a formal education opportunity around curriculum development, kind of a template that's being advised, but it always goes back to taking advantage of local opportunities within the district to really bring the local, the teachers and the students to be part of that development process.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So the one immediate need that I saw was this benchmarking that needs to be updated by
NYSERDA.
December 2022. Is this something that, because I'm assuming all those funding sources that you've listed require some data capture in order to justify the receipt of funds. So that seems like a pretty big need that we should be, we should not let that opportunity slip. Is that something is it proprietary information that a student couldn't work on if they were given the opportunity and training, or is it, could that be a student internship possibly?
It absolutely could. It does require quite a bit of time. And basically what it needs to happen is to go through a lot of energy bills. But it's certainly a possibility, yes.
And I'm just wondering, Jamie, did you have an opportunity to meet with our new director of facilities, or had you already sort of finished your work when he came on?
I had finished for the most part when I presented this to the facilities team. He was there, and so we were able to interact a little bit. But unfortunately, it was after most of my work had been done.
And if we were to continue to work with CE, would it be with Jamie, or would you find another fellow? How does that work?
Jamie has particular expertise in schools. He spent 8 years developing a sustainability program at a school in Nepal and has just general expertise in the area. So what we've been thinking about in the model is that Jamie would likely stay involved, but we have a workforce development program where we bring talented professionals in on an intern model. We call it a fellowship model. And so it's likely that we would have him supported by a fellow or more fellows, interns, to do the work that would be done.
Are there other questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
No, thank you for the presentation. I mean, I think it's very good to talk about this topic. Is there a kind of like a scoring? It's gonna be a dumb question, but is there like a scoring system that kind of kind of give us an incentive to do more. You know, and kind of referring
Probably
to
this, I don't know if I'd call it a scoring system, but the rubric that, and I'm not the expert on this, but I think the general rubric is the Green Ribbon Schools rubric. That's like a national benchmark for this, and it looks at kind of like what Jamie did. It takes every facet of what a school district does, and it has all these different things, and you, part of the process is you sort of measure yourself against the rubric before you even submit anything to the state. It's a national benchmark, but it's run through each state. That would be my sense of like a score for all aspects of it.
okay. And then there's like levels, I guess, or
Um,
so we can do better.
It's been a little time since I looked at it, but it's they have tons of information on the internet, and so you could just Google it, and yeah, they have like all these domains and all kinds of different aspects of everything we do.
Perry has a thought.
I would also add the NYSERDA benchmarking program that Jamie is speaking of also gives you, shows you where you rank in compared to other school buildings of similar size, construction, fuel usage. So that would also give us some kind of a sense as to where we stand. And I will say that we've been working on getting some of those Central Hudson details together. I think we've made some progress since we last spoke with Jamie. So we should be able to maintain. I think we can put some effort toward it and get the benchmarking program back in place for the deadline.
Good. Yeah, I'm thinking of some sort of a grading index. You know, bronze, gold, silver, whatever it may be that may help also with kind of letting the public know where we stand and that we that we will strive to do better and continue and go to the next level, I guess. And then if we had the benchmark's important. It tells you where you started from, but also kind of like where the next step will be and what it will take to get there would help kind of explain it to the public, I think.
Yeah. I think also it would be good for the policy committee to read the policies that are linked to this.
Yeah.
And see how they're pretty long. I started reading them today, but I didn't get through it, so. Are there any other questions? You guys are also welcome to ask questions if you want, but no pressure. Okay. Thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you, Jeff, very much. I think we'll probably have follow-up questions, maybe through the Sustainability Committee, because there's a lot of information here, but appreciate the presentation.
All right, thank you.
Off to your Diwali celebration, Jamie.
Yeah.
So next, we're going to hear from Matt and Perry.
Right, and then we
regarding-
have the
I
audit.
know, and it's not on the agenda, but
Yep.
I haven't forgotten you, Jen, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to provide a very brief update on just some initial work towards electric. We're gonna switch. I'm not sure these slides are the best slides in the world, so I feel bad taking time to even switch to them. So Anne-Marie and Perry and I, we had a meeting with Tetra Tech, which is our architecture and engineering firm, and they did like a 40-slide presentation with us on the transition to electric buses. Perry attended the ASBO conference, and he attended a very thorough, very technical PowerPoint about this transition to electric vehicles. So we took a lot of that information and made 3 slides from it, which we're going to talk about tonight. So this is just, and just to thank Jamie and Jeff again, before I get into this, we will indeed have the Sustainability Committee up and running in the next couple of weeks. Perry's working with Jesse, and Jesse's working with his team on the benchmarking. With the conservation
Advisory committee.
Advisory committee. Sometimes my acronyms start
I know.
playing in my head. We're working with them about the pollinator pathways at each of our schools. The high school has a project with the Beacon Tree Committee that they applied for a grant for. We did have just a couple of teachers attend the sustainability curriculum writing this summer, so we have some things moving. This is a huge process, and we're just going to kind of have a very initial conversation about it. But just quickly, an overview of the mandate itself, that by 2035, 100% of buses will be electric, and that by 2027, which is a year that is much closer to us, all purchases must be zero emissions by 2027. So I think sometimes those numbers play with us a little bit. 2035 feels really far away. 2027, we really need to start preparing for right now, which is what we're doing. So I'm just going to quickly go over those slides. Then Anne Marie and Perry are going to kind of fill in some details. These two slides kind of bleed into each other, but there's some steps that Tetra Tech and ASWA have advised us to do. One is to perform a fleet assessment study, which Perry has started the process for, determine our infrastructure needs, really look into the costs and the financing of this, and also look at the impact it'll have on our utility bills. And then this is a very loose timeline in this transition. The first few months to do this fleet assessment study with Central Hudson, develop a plan of action with our architecture firm, Tetra Tech, and then really spend the next year to 2 years planning for facility upgrades, working with Central Hudson on everything we need from them. And then there's the whole training our drivers and mechanics to prepare for this change as well. I will say, though, that the clearest advice we've gotten from everyone we've spoken to about this is it's really important to just start. So it's important to start the fleet assessment. It's important to start talking with Central Hudson. It's important to talk with our bus, the companies that make the buses in terms of what's available. Start talking to the board. Then we start doing more planning. We developed this plan with Tetra Tech. But it's really important to start. And so this may change, but what we're working towards is that this winter, late winter, early spring, the board can have a substantive conversation about whether to have an electric bus on the ballot on the May election. So we want to be able to do all the pre-work necessary for you to make, or for all of us to make that decision. But Perry and Emery are just going to talk a little bit about like the fleet assessment and.
I have about 40 minutes. So yeah,
Give or take.
the assessment really is just getting all the information about what our current bus fleet is now, how many miles do we drive, how many hours do they operate, what the downtime is in between. So it's a lot of data, and the purpose of that is to look at what equipment, as we start looking at electric buses, there are decisions on chargers that can be made and software that can be made as to how those buses get charged, and are they charged between routes, or are they charged at night, and are they charged fully or just enough for the next run? So there's a lot. I would say, if anything, there is so much to learn about this, and we know so little at this point. So we're really just getting started. It's a matter of gaining information, grabbing it wherever we can. One of the common points that I hear is dipping your toe in the water. Get a bus, get it in district, see how it operates in, run it in every route that you've got. You're not going to replace every bus at once. You're not going to make, don't worry about doing field trips and things like that. Just put it on your routes. There's, if it's a hilly route, it may take more energy. If it's a cold day, it will take more energy. If it's a hot day, it may take more energy. All of those things you won't know until we actually get one here. And granted, the first bus we buy won't be the best one we'll ever buy. The technology is going to get better, battery life is going to get better, but that's kind of where we are at this point, really getting a lot of information together.
So I do want to say too that Deb Call, our transportation supervisor, is speaking to the bus companies and trying to see what's available. Perry and I were talking, because Perry had heard at ASBO that there might be an 18-month backlog on once you order a bus, which kind of falls into the plan a little bit. So if the board decides to put it on the ballot, we're still 18 months out after that. So it might be a decision just to, kind of move forward a little bit in May. And the funding sources are still kind of up in the air. We know there is funding from NYSERDA. There'll be state funding. Exactly who pays for what and why is still being determined, but we're still investigating that as well. So.
There's also the EPA.
And the EPA.
There's the EPA funding, and there's actually a ballot on the November
Election,
Yeah.
State,
that will be additional funding, so.
is that the Environmental Bond Act?
Yes.
Yep.
So that would be, if that passes, that's $500 million for, no, yes?
I don't know, that's not what
Okay.
it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's gonna be key in making this happen. Yes.
Go ahead.
Can you, in your fleet assessment, are you also including the fuel cost and usage of the tradition?
Yeah, all that's going in so that we'll start to see what the savings, the potential savings will be on a route-by-route basis.
Okay. And I guess when we're fully converted, we won't need certain things like a above ground storage tank and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are gonna go away by 2035, yes.
So is that going to be captured as well, or?
That is, at this point, it's not addressed, but it will be addressed in a capital assessment, yes.
Okay.
I have a question. There's one question. No, I've got a lot of questions. I'm glad to see you're making your list, and that you're jumping on this now. And it does take a team approach, and you need to tap all those resources. So I think you're off to a good start. One thing that concerns me is the schedule that the state has imposed upon us in terms of the reality of the market and the ability of the supply chain. So talking with various bus-making companies is going to be a key part of that. And of course, they'll be giving you a sales pitch that may or may not prove to be true. The funding sources, there was, when the state rolled this out, they talked about, I think that was the $500 million number. And if you divide that by the number of school districts and the number of buses, I don't think it covers the incremental cost of what the difference is between electric and diesel or gas. Another factor to look into is, would this schedule subject to reality checks that may occur between now and then be modified to permit districts to maintain a certain portion of fleet of fossil fuel buses, particularly for long runs, like when you're going to an away game in the winter, or taking the band on the road to
Field
some
trips,
other field
yeah.
trip, you know? So we do have those uses. It's not all the standard runs down this road and that in the district, which we probably could handle electric, I would think. But the longer runs, if you're out of luck because there's no place to charge it and you have to just, stay over in a motel waiting for the bus to charge, you're not going to save any money.
Well, I think the assumption is that if everybody jumps at once, then you wouldn't be waiting for another district to have an electric charging option. You would be going to a district for a game that would have an electric charging station there. It wouldn't look like the infrastructure that we have now. That's more
Yeah,
ad
well,
hoc. That's sort of what I think this is almost analogous to, the armament of the United States military in World War II. We had given all of our arms to England to hold off the Nazis for a while. Then we had to basically arm an entire military. That was a massive effort. This is a similarly dire situation, and I think that we are looking at the need to push boundaries, ambitious schedules, make big changes. One question I did have is the potential of looking at the land that we have by the bus garage for feasibility for a solar field.
Yes.
That actually is a great idea, that it goes hand in hand, and there's a lot of other elements where the batteries on the bus can be used to feed back into the grid in prime hours. And yeah, really the best situation would be to be able to do a solar array along with the charging
We
stations.
still have some land that we did not give to Dutchess, we didn't sell to Dutchess Stadium that is adjacent to that, so it'd be worth looking at. I don't know, there's a lot of factors that go
it's-
into a solar field, but.
And to your point of the schedule, it's a fairly aggressive schedule, and there's a discussion of what happens if. And the expectation is by those who are maybe more in the know, that there will be some type of perhaps a waiver program.
Right.
But you're gonna have to demonstrate that you've been working on this, that you didn't wait until 2024 or
Right.
25 and start, that you've gotten started earlier, but just because of market conditions or
Right.
some other struggle that you're not there
And
yet.
who knows, maybe some of the money seized from oil price fixing by the Southern District that was announced today might go towards changing our energy system.
I think Alina had a question.
I have more of a common sense question as far as the communication to the community. When you had said it could potentially go on the ballot. I can't say that word ever. In May, it's just communicating to the community in regards to the steps in the process, because the community is just going to think, well, they're going to hear buses and they're going to hear lack of drivers. They're going to hear the delays. So just keeping all that in mind when delivering the communication. I don't know if there's a way. Are we in the process? I know we're always in the process of hiring drivers, but I think the community is going to hear, okay, we're going to this fleet of buses and it's electric and that's great and that's wonderful, but the kids' games come back late or the school buses take a longer route. So we find some way to incorporate that in our communication to let our community know that the benefit is not just the economic side of it, but hopefully there's a benefit in that my kid doesn't have to wake up super early or get to school or something in there to just kind of show the community that it's a benefit to them too as well and their kid and stuff like that.
Right. Alina's talking about the staffing issues or challenges that we've had. They've impacted us with trips and sports more than anything. All school districts are in competition in a sense for a lot of the same employees. So we've had a struggle there. I think with the communication around this, there's so many steps between now and really trying to sell this as a ballot proposition in the spring. But I think the communication part is really, really important with all aspects of this. So we'll be working on that and talking at board meetings about it too. Obviously, Jamie presented a really comprehensive thing. This is just one part of it. But even just this one part has is like a universe inside of it of things we need to do differently. And so there's a lot of different things we need to be doing. Again, our goal is to just start. And so, with that start, we're not exactly sure what that start looks like. I'm kind of putting out there the goal of having it on, or I don't decide what's on the ballot, but having you all have enough information to make a good decision about whether it goes on the ballot in May or not. And so I think all of that, trying to address some of the issues you're talking about, which are more staffing related, I think all of that makes sense. Because I think what you're getting at is people sort of saying, okay, that's all well and good, but is the athletic trip still going to come back an hour late? Or we sometimes have to cancel or change the time of a game because of lack of drivers. This may not necessarily solve that, so we need to make sure we're trying to address both of those things. But anyway, we want to put a lot of work into the next few months so you all feel like you can make a good decision about this. I do think, I always try to talk about stuff in a politics in a neutral fashion, but I do think the ballot, what's on the ballot on November 8th will have a pretty significant impact on this in terms of the state's role in funding. So we'll know soon enough the answer to that. So.
And I know that there's a lot of different opportunities for funding, and most of them seem to be just around the buses and not around the infrastructure. But we are in an area that has been designated an area of need. I mean, it was on Jamie's slides because of the air quality here. So hopefully we're collecting all of that and trying to figure out how to,
That's a good point. Air quality might be a determinant of who gets first in line for some funding. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes.
well, we're eligible for
It's a
more
designation,
funding through NYSERDA currently because of the air quality here.
We'll look at all that. One other thing to emphasize again is Tetra Tech, our architecture firm, will have a pretty significant role in all of this. And so we'll be talking with them more formally in a sense about what that means. The thing they really pushed with us was, please, before we get involved, do this fleet assessment study. So we've done all of the work on our end to get that moving. And then once we get that, that's when they kind of jump in and start developing the plan with us.
Another question, what seems to be the typical length that we continue to own a given vehicle? What's the usual lifespan before we get replacement?
It's about, it's more like 10.
Around
Yeah.
10?
It's, recommended they do 7 to 8, but we hold on to them longer than that. So the plan would then be, if we have to start, if we have a deadline of 2035, we have to start. We can't buy them all at once, and we have a lot of buses, so that would be the plan
So
to
it
do
is
a little bit at a time.
What we normally do is each year we replace some of our oldest vehicles.
Correct.
And therefore it becomes sort of a levelized impact on the overall budget because every year you're doing something. Yeah. So this works into that, but we don't know the total financial ups and downs of this as yet, so.
Not yet. We have a fleet of about 57 buses. That's full-size buses and vans.
Yeah.
All that would be part of this program.
Has there been any discussion yet with Central Hudson to find out what the total capacity is down that Route 9D line? Are we talking about that kind of an impact that it might be an issue because that whole area has a lot of development going
So
on?
their initial response was they thought that they had the power at Route 9. It's a matter of getting it from Route 9 in back
Right.
to our facility.
Yeah.
And that's where the software comes into play, because the idea is you're not charging 57 buses all at one time. Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to sort of figure out how we'll receive information over the next few months to decide how to, deal with it around the ballot issue.
No. I thought I saw like a hand over there. out of the corner of my eye.
Do we have a target date for the completion of the fleet assessment? I'm sorry if you mentioned it and I didn't.
We don't have a completion date for it yet, and I've really been cautious not to overtax Debbie with all that she's got trying to transport students as well. So we're kind of gathering the information and getting it together.
Would it make sense to aim for the transportation budget meeting to have information about this presented then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That usually is in the February, March range.
Yeah.
Probably, I think February is when we do that.
Yeah.
That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, I would think that'd be doable.
And it is, when I was doing my own research about this, there was, it is possible to put something on the ballot that's sort of like a contingency, that like, if we can pull everything else together, if we don't have everything, all the information we need at that time, we can still do something that situates us in a place where we can still move forward. We don't have to wait for the next election. Depending where, because I understand, like, there's all these moving parts, you don't know what's gonna be.
And I would really look at the first bus as being just a very generic, I mean, it's, I don't think you're gonna know a lot more between now and then that's gonna make a big difference. I think really, it's going to be, it's a bus, it's a charger. You would go with the fastest charger because you're gonna wanna be able to have the quickest response time. Not to downplay it, but I think that that's really what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a bit of a leap of faith that, the technology is there and we've gotta get into it.
I can say from personal experience, we got an electric car in May, and my husband really wanted to drive it to Michigan, and I was like, no way, because I've been stranded a couple times already, and he convinced me to, and it was amazing to see how much the infrastructure has changed in the last 6 months. So it's moving very quickly, I think in a very positive way, so I feel very optimistic about it.
Yeah, I again, first bus, it's gonna stay here in the district.
Yeah.
Make every run.
Don't drive it to
run
Michigan.
Every road.
I get it. I hear you, Kurt.
Field trips.
Thank you. Well, thanks so much. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good.
There's actually one more workshop that is not on the agenda. So can I have a motion to add a presentation, 3.03, presentation from Jen Capicchione, did I get it sort of, from Nugent Hausler to, of our external audit.
So moved.
Second. Anthony, second by Eunice. Are there comments or questions? Just to give you a tiny bit more information, we did hear from Jen at our audit committee meeting, audit and finance committee meeting last week. I really apologize that we didn't put it on the agenda. I think it was all sort of settled in our minds, and
That's okay.
that
no
wasn't
worries.
everything that we needed. Wait, I just have to get a vote. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Okay.
Eunice.
Eunice, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sorry.
No problem, thank you.
And I just forwarded it to all the board members, so you have the report in your email.
Okay. I'm here this evening to present the results of the June 30, 2022 audit. I have met with the district's audit committee and discussed the financial statements in detail. Tonight, I'm just here to give you a brief overview. Included in the financial statement packet, you have 3 separate audits: the audit of the district's financial statements, the audit of the federal awards under the uniform guidance, and the audit of the district's extracurricular activities. I'm pleased to say, after performing our procedures, we have issued unmodified or clean opinions on each of those audits, and the district is in stable financial condition. We noted no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in your internal controls. And this year, for the audit of the federal awards, we did audit the district's special education grants as well as the education stabilization grants. One change to note in your financial statements this year was the implementation of GASB 87 related to leases. The district has evaluated their leases, and adjustments have been made to be in compliance with the accounting standards. In conclusion, I would just like to say a quick acknowledgement to Anne Marie and Donnell and the rest of the business office staff for their hard work and assistance throughout the audit process. We do appreciate it, and it's a pleasure working with the district, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Jennifer?
We did receive like a really, really comprehensive report and discussion at the audit and finance meeting, and we asked a lot of questions and they were answered. So if something occurs later after the fact, you can feel free to ask anybody on audit and finance.
Or,
We're directed to Emery.
yeah.
Jen.
Or me.
Thank you. Sorry
Thank you so much.
No worries.
to have you wait.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn to executive session to review the employment history of a particular individual, and the board will return in about 25 minutes.
Anthony, so moved.
Second. Oh, sorry, Elena.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm also in favor. Passes 6-0. Thank you. patience. There are a few changes to the agenda, corrections to the agenda. They are highlighted in yellow. I do not see any parent groups or student school presentations in the audience, so moving on to superintendent's report.
I just want to talk about two things tonight. One is we had so much going on at the beginning of the meeting with a lot of important information. Should have said it when there was more people in the audience, but it's board recognition night, and I just want to say thank you to the board. I'll be brief in my comments, but whenever I'm involved in hiring someone for the district, typically a teacher or an administrator, one of the things that I always say, and sometimes it's asked about, one of the things that I always say to every new person coming in the district is that we have a very student-centered board. And I don't think in all of my experience professionally in education and watching my mom as a teacher for all the years I grew up in that house, and my dad was even a board member in our community, that you can't always say that. And so it's a real testament to what you all bring every day to this role in the meetings and the committee meetings, but also just your role in the community, that you're always focused on the students and trying to find ways to better support them through what a board does. So thank you for all the hours away from your family that you give us. It means a lot. And just on behalf of the district, thank you for what you do. And BTA had a little something for you. I have a little card with something inside. But, just because it's 2022, we couldn't have, something without a disruption in the delivery of something. So you have some Beacon swag coming, some Beacon apparel. So hopefully at the next board meeting, we'll have that for you. So the board love will just continue throughout. But thank you for everything you do to support the students in the district. And then the second thing I just want to highlight is I can't say enough about homecoming week last week. If you just said it was about like the games, you're kind of missing the larger thing. There were so many events happening really across the district at all of our schools, whether it was like Spirit Days. We had that, not that this was directly related to homecoming week, but that amazing bullying assembly. Or anti-bullying assembly that 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders and the kids at Rombout got to attend at Rombout. On Friday of last week, we had all the Spirit Days across a lot of our schools. If you want to see how engaged the high school students were, check out the high school Instagram. Mr. Dwyer is really good at putting up a lot of different pictures of all the involvement there. So that part of it, and then just also all of the events we had. We had fireworks on Tuesday night. Fireworks were funded by Beacon Soccer, Beacon Baseball, Patriot Swimming, I'm probably Extreme Softball, and Rob Lanier also individually donated to make that happen. We had hundreds of people there for that. And then for the game Friday night, we had really probably over 1,000 people at that game. We not only had the football team, but we had our cheer program really doing a great thing, and we had the cheer club from Forrestal perform before the game, which was awesome. So it was really fun. I got to just talk to people across the community at all those events, and a ton of effort goes into pulling that off. Our high school administrators deserve a ton of thanks for all the time they put into last week, and our security staff. Really handled our new procedures really well with all of these people coming. And I think if it were a just world, they'd get a couple days off this week, but they did not. But they really put in a ton of effort. And to all the teachers who sponsored the clubs and the teams and the classes that did so much last week too. Thanks go all around to everyone involved. It was a really amazing week. And then it kind of the last activity was the dance at the high school. And while we don't keep, historical statistics on this, it for sure was the best attended homecoming dance in my time here. We had over 400 students attend out of, I think, 870 students at the high school. So it was a really well-attended dance as well, and from all accounts, the kids had a blast. So thank you to all involved, and I kick it back to you, Meredith.
Moving on to board comments. Kristen.
Thanks so much. Yes, this was my first experience having a student go through the more sort of high school level homecoming experience, and it was really nice to see and see all the excitement and all the texts about what everyone was wearing for different spirit days and everything like that. So it was quite sweet. I am excited about our discussions around electric vehicles and sustainability. I think that there's so many community partners in Beacon, and there's so much opportunity to tap into that and bring that to life within the district. And finally, happy Diwali to all those who celebrate.
Thank you. Eunice?
No comment.
Alina?
No comment.
Anthony?
Kristen said it better than I did, so I want to echo what she said. And then add in the policy committee did meet on the 17th, and there's 3 policies on the agenda for first read.
Thank you. Craig?
Thank you. I really appreciate the presentations tonight, including the one on the electric vehicles. It's good to get in, the earlier the look, the better, because this is a big one with a lot of moving parts. No pun intended. So in the news today, I hear that there's some national statistics about student decline in performance on English and math tests across the nation, I think it was. Last meeting, we had a presentation by our assistant superintendent about our scores here. It'd be interesting to know for maybe a follow-up comparison as to how we look compared to those national numbers. So maybe that's something that could be discussed and evaluated for further review.
I think an easier comparison for us is with the state.
State? Is it a state?
Because the test that came out in the news today is the NAEP. I always forget what the acronym is, National Education Performance.
Yeah.
And so only a certain number of students take that test in each state. It's like you're sort of randomly selected to be a school that participates in that. So we don't have a clear way of comparing ourselves to that score, but we do have a way of comparing ourselves with the state test, which the state just released all their information today as well.
Ah.
So we can do that comparison, which gives you some, like, kind of sort of benchmark.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good. So Audit and Finance Committee met Thursday, and we devoted the meeting to our external auditors, Nugent and Hausler, which is the partner who presented earlier this evening, Jennifer Capacchione. And I think we had the consensus that the concerns there are relatively modest and look like they'll be well addressed in the corrective action plan. I think that we also had a pretty clear idea of where we're going for at least our next couple of meetings. The next meeting, which should be on the third Thursday, we figure that's the target date for our meetings, would be meeting with our internal auditors, which have been at work and whom we hired a few meetings ago. And then after that, we will take a look at, I guess you could call it long-range planning and strategy questions, rather than just looking at the immediate questions of reviewing the current bills and meeting with whoever we're meeting with. We felt the need to take a bigger, broader look and a longer view down the road to see what's catching up with us. So we also welcomed back our volunteer community members, Joe Bafuto and Matthew May, who both indicated their desire to continue serving the district in that volunteer capacity. And I think we're going to check to make sure, since this is very new to us, Do we have to go through a process, or can we just say, keep on cooking, welcome back? So that's the report from Audit and Finance.
Great, thank you, Craig. And the next meeting is, we're hoping for it to be November 17th, but we're waiting to see if our internal auditor would be ready. Great.
And we should add about because the facilities committee did meet.
Yes.
And a lot of the information about what's going on with the capital project is going to be conveyed during meetings going forward, right? At least we're going to have some big updates soon. And
Yeah.
we'll meet next on the same night as the audit and finance.
The 17th, yep, correct.
Are we thinking it might be a longer than usual evening, back to back, or what?
No, I don't think our facilities meeting will be much longer because I sort of imagine the longer meeting happening for the whole board, right? We don't want to have our architect engineering firm come twice, or would we? I sort of feel like it would be important to hear from, what do you think? I guess I'm misremembering.
Like a kind of a more formal update on the capital project in a whole board meeting?
Well, we
Like Perry did that time, kind of?
we do need to do that at some point.
Right.
I don't know if, I think we should see what Tetra Tech wants to do in terms of the November meeting, because we do need to at some point just sort of like take a hard look at going forward of what's happening.
Right.
So I don't know if that would be presented to the committee first and then to the whole board, but
I mean, to the extent that they could share a presentation prior to a meeting where the committee could provide comment on it, and then, because I feel like, at least for this stage, the idea of having them come to a committee meeting and then trying to convey what
Right.
they said in my board comments
Yeah.
feels a little bit like,
Yeah.
like too many steps, and I
Right.
wouldn't be the best messenger for that.
And the update is also on the more permanent record.
yeah.
That's what I was hoping for.
Right.
Like, if somebody could go back and look at, like,
Right.
and they would hear it right from the firm and from Perry and,
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I agree. Although I will say, depending on how the timing works and everything else, they could meet with us in November, and then we plan like the first meeting in January to be like a big update on the capital project, depending on, how much information they have, et cetera, et cetera. So
okay.
either way, I agree that I think we do need to, we're going to need to update the community on what's going on with that. So if they're ready to do that, then we should build it in sooner than later. If not,
I think the one thing I, not to push again for the idea then of a presentation or some sort of update, but it would be like, instead of having if they came to a meeting in November, I don't want to necessarily have a verbal update. I feel like we end up hearing about all the sort of bits and pieces, and it would just be nicer to have like some timelines laid out. And I know that they're all fluid because of the supply chain and different issues, but if they start talking about phase 2 and what this one is and what we're going to do next summer, it like keeping all of that kind
Right.
of in our head, and then it's just I feel like I would like something to read and
I
look
agree.
at, I feel like we lean on them coming and talking to us a little bit too much, and
Yeah.
I can't even remember what we voted on and what we agreed
Yeah.
at this point. So
I would like to have a facilities committee meeting that night, though, if possible.
yeah.
Because
No, I thought we would have that for
Okay.
sure. But not, I wasn't skipping out of the meeting, but I just didn't want that to be our only way of getting the update on the project.
I understand, and that makes perfect sense to me, yeah. Okay, so I had a couple other updates. One, I attended the NISBA business meeting on last Monday, and I'm sorry to say that our proposed resolution did not pass. It was one of 2 out of the 30-odd resolutions that did not pass.
Got no juice.
I did, this is the one, stipends for board members, and I did argue our rationale that this was supposed to be opening a door for a more diverse board, for people who struggle to pay for babysitting or transportation to even attend board meetings. But I was not convincing enough, and it did not pass. The other one that did not pass was the Resolution 20, which was supporting legislation that would reform current gun laws to strengthen background checks, implement red flag laws, et cetera, for those under age 21. So, yes, I was disappointed that that did not pass as well.
That was disappointing.
The other thing was, not everyone has completed the doodle poll for this mini retreat. This is really not a big deal, but I think it is important. So if you haven't, please do look through your email and find it. I'll forward it to everyone again. Very excited about our student school board advisors. Happy to have them with us. And that's it for me.
And, Meredith, I'm sorry, I didn't see the doodle poll, but
I will,
I might have, for sort of family reasons, have missed a chunk of emails.
I will send it out again.
Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch now.
No problem. So, moving on to the consent agenda. The use of the consent agenda permits the Board of Education to make more effective use of its time by adopting a single motion to cover those relatively routine matters which are included. Any member of the board who wishes to discuss individually a particular piece of business on the consent agenda may so indicate, and that item will be considered and voted on separately, thus preserving the right of all board members to be heard on any issue. Are there any items that any board members would like to have pulled from the consent agenda? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve 12.01 through 17.01?
So moved.
Kristen, is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm also in favor, passes 6-0. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Oh, it's a separate item. Okay, sorry. So that was actually 12.01 through 16.05.
Motion to accept 12.01 to 12.05.
Second.
Thank you, Anthony and Kristen. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm also in favor, passes 6-0. Can I have a motion to amend the 2022-2023 school year calendar, item 17.01?
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? Just
Thank you,
graduation date
Victoria.
is being
Yeah,
moved. Yeah,
that was
thanks for
it.
catching that, Vicki. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I am also in favor, passes 6-0. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Elena,
Second.
second by Anthony. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm also in favor, passes 6-0. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.